This bread and butter pudding is actually really simple to make, and it's just a bowl, some slicing, some mixing, very simple, and requires no special equipment. So I have here a brioche loaf, but obviously you can use any kind of loaf. This can be made with challah, it can be made with brioche, just regular bread, sliced bread, fresh bread, pre-packaged, anything that you've got. So I've used most of the loaf here. You can see that I've got a little bit left, but I've used most of the loaf. This is about 400 grams. And you can use stale bread. You can use croissant, brioche, pain au chocolat, anything like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this into quarters. You can cut it sort of diamond shape. You can cut it into cubes if you want. It really doesn't matter what shape you make. So this is the size of mine, but obviously any size you like. Smaller is just as good. And you'll probably notice here that what's different about this one from a lot of the other bread and butter pudding recipes that you'll see is we're not going to butter these first. We're going to put our ingredients in a large bowl here. Use the biggest bowl that you've got. I have 3 organic eggs at room temperature. So just give those a vigorous whisk. I'm going to add my sugar. I've whisked this for about a minute or so, so it's nice and foamy. I'm going to add most of my butter, but I'm reserving a little bit there. Give that a mix. 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I've got 1 teaspoon of cinnamon and 1 of nutmeg. I have 500 ml of milk. I'm also using evaporated milk in this. Now, what I will say is if we weren't on lockdown, I'd be using cream. But I don't have cream and I don't want to go out to get any. So I am using a can of evaporated milk instead. Evaporated milk is really creamy. It's basically just milk that has gone into a pan and has evaporated away a lot of the water, so it's really rich. So it's just creamy milk basically. So we'll give that a mix. I then have, this is completely optional, got some spiced rum here. You can add as much or as little as you like. So we give that a stir. I then have a couple of additions. So I've got, for those of you who've been watching my videos, you'll be recognising I'm using the last tier of my fudge pieces and my chocolate chips. I've got 70 grams here. I've got 100 grams of sultanas. This is what people normally use anyway. Golden sultanas work really well as well in this recipe. So what we're going to do is add most of these additions, but we're going to reserve some because we're going to sprinkle them on, because sometimes they can just end up all on the top and that's not what we want. So I've reserved some there as well. Give those a nice mix. And now we're going to start adding our large pile of brioche. So just pop it in and we're going to mix it around. We're not going to be using a whisk for this part, we're going to be using a spoon. You want to make sure that all of these are really well covered, and while we're not trying to mash them down, make sure that they are coated, and if that means pushing them down, that's absolutely fine. You can see here that everything is really well coated, so we're now going to transfer it to a buttered oven-proof dish. I've got my buttered oven-proof dish, which is just using a bit of that butter that you reserved and then just using a pastry brush and wiping that all over. And then just spoon this in. So I've spooned in half, and now I'm going to sprinkle on some of these. And now we put the rest on top. So if you can see, there's large sections of the toppings, so that's chocolate and sultanas in this case. Just move those to the side, just because sultanas have a bit of a way of burning, so I don't want to have too many of those on the top. So just poke them into the custard or move them around. So I have not already put my oven on to preheat. That's because I like to give this as much time to soak as possible. So I'm now going to preheat my oven, so this will have 15 minutes to just sit, and then it's going to go into the oven for about 45 to 50 minutes. You can see here that there's still a little bit of movement in it, and that's what you want. So this has been out of the oven for about 15 minutes or so, and this is optional, but you can take your pastry brush and just brush a bit of butter, a bit of melted butter on this. Then we're going to dust some icing sugar over it. Thanks so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you're interested in my kind of videos, and leave me a comment below if you've got any tips, tricks, if you tried it, because I'd love to know how it went. I'll catch you in the next video, guys. Bye.